Hi, everyone.
Good morning.
Uh, um, we have a few things that we like to sort it out today. And so in terms of the paper review process, we recently have the Tamal to um, get a little bit of update. Uh, so I need to I need to ask the uh, as for a resubmission into the review process. Um, and Jeff, I think do we? I think we need to add a contributor page to
Yep. Yeah, we
yeah
do. But I guess we need to figure out what that is. I don't know where the format or where it goes, or I wondered if that's something they do when they publish it, or
yeah that was a part I think when I talking to Alicia, she mentioned it's something reference was other papers that has a very strong list of the author. They use this. Let me see if I can share it in here. So they use this quantum processing unit data center infrastructure as an example. So they have a very long list of the author. Um, in and there are, I think there's some page for uh yeah, I don't think there's I don't think there's other places for the contributor, but she was suggested that we should, if there is a people that had that company is not in the OCP corporate list, and that does a lot of contributions. We especially want to acknowledge we can have a page inside uh, to mention that. So I I think that would be probably the way to do. So I'll try to create a page for that and ask if Alicia approves the format. Then I'll share with everyone to see if I miss the names or your company in the list.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So all right. So we've been working on how to what would be the next things we should do, and I kind of put a little summary in here, but it everything was not sure yet. Um, I think if we want to working on the long-term projects, we have to submit a charter to OCP, and getting approved. So it would probably take a while. So there was something that we can do between now and the next phase get approved. So I think Jeff had a good ideas that we can working on another white papers to compare between different MPO connectors for the scale up network and list out the the pros and cons between them and how to choose. I think it's a good idea, but I'd like to hear more from you guys. Uh, Raymond, I think you're the expert on the connector side. I don't know if you think this is a good idea or not.
For the, I cannot comment on the long-term part of it because I
But
know
the
very
the
little
short
about it.
term,
So yeah,
the short
yeah.
term
But for the
part.
short term, it may be very short term, to be honest. Uh, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I know as a fact that MPO for 200 gig is
Mm-hmm,
coming online pretty fast. Uh, there are some major player in the industry is using MPO or about to have MPO in their product.
mm-hmm.
Well, with our time, I don't know exactly the timeline that you're talking about here, Bobby. I
I would say it's probably before we like to publish before the global.
okay.
So that would be like mid October. I don't know if uh, the for example the open CPX they're
Go through
gonna
here on your left. It's a free parking lot.
um Ron, I think you accidentally. I'm gonna mute you, Ron. Oh, okay, you. So,
Sorry about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I think the
so
Open
back to
CPX
the.
is about to publish their 1.0 spec, right? And
Mhm.
so that would be one of the major player on the 200 gig MPO.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I'm not seeing a lot of I mean, just off the cuff, on top of my head,
mhm.
I can't really think of something substantial enough to be a paper. I mean,
So Raymond,
yeah,
let me just explain. So where I was coming from on this. So as you know, there's the OpenCPX, there's a UPO they have for 100G, and they were going to talk about one for 200G. That's in Asia. Today, the OIF started a 12.8T MPO project at 200G per lane. Proprietary, there's a couple different MPO solutions people are using, elastomeric sockets and other things. There are different pros and cons in terms of whether they scale to 400G, whether there's a separate power connector, and so on. Another issue between some of these is they use 12.8T, for instance, let's say, and scale up sometimes instead is 14.4T. So it's a different socket size. So those are kinds of things that would be, I thought, could be helpful as a guideline for people as they're trying to look at these different solutions that people are doing in the industry and try to compare them, and not say which is best, but just, basically say, what are the differences and what things you might take into consideration when you choose between them. That's the kind of thing I was thinking of.
Okay, got it. Thanks for the clarification. And if that's the so Jeff, based on what you said, actually I don't think I'm qualified to provide those information. It will be best if we have people from different companies who actually are implementing NPO or similar solution on their platform. I mean, I know something about the NPO design, especially the socket design, but I am definitely not in the liberty to review anything. Those will be all specific to those customers.
Yeah. So one possibility, just thinking about how we might do this, right, is to invite the different companies to come in and present their solution.
Yeah, that would be much better.
And so the point is, I think what the project would be is it would be one. We know some things. We know a little bit about densities and just channel losses that we would have to stay within. We know some basic things, and we could have the companies present what they have, what they're willing to share with us, and then we could, it would be an educational thing for us as well. And then at the end, we'd have our considerations that that you want to take into account when you choose a solution. I mean, that's one way to approach it.
Yeah, I agree. But unfortunately, those are details that I actually don't have. So I mean, I can at best I can provide some let's call it the envelope of the performance of NPO socket. But then because the NPO solution involve a interface, a mating interface between the main motherboard and the NPO module, the socket is that interface. But all the details are on the motherboard and then the package loss of the ASIC, and then the module itself. I have no visibility to those. And if I only provide some general information on the socket, which I think I can do, which is rather limited, to be honest.
Yeah, so I don't think we have to do this. I was just trying to make a possible thing we could do that would be relatively short term and that could be interesting. So I'm not saying let's do this. I'm just saying this is something we could do if And if enough people think it's good and want to contribute to it, then that's great. If they don't, that's fine too. It's just a suggestion.
Actually, I think it's interesting, to be honest, because I just confess, right? There's a lot of detail with the MPO solution. I actually don't have a lot of visibility. So if we can have companies that are willing to come in and contribute, that would be great. Yeah, but it's just responding to Bobby. I I don't think Lowe's can provide a lot here. That's my point.
Got it. So I think Jeff, you just had a very good ideas that showed up in here, which is inviting company to uh, present their existing solutions and what they learn from there. Um, I don't know if uh, John from Dell, is Dell working have deployed any kind of MPO solutions and have some ideas about this and possibly sharing.
Um, at the moment, and from the product perspective, and they'll still use the pluggable based form
Mhm.
factor. Yeah. So to my knowledge, I don't think there is any MPO solution yet, and it's still quite early.
Got it. Got it. So it looks like at least from my public knowledge that I can observe about who use MPO, um, seems like only only the Alibabas or ByteDance they have the setup for MPO. Am I correct?
Um, from the public knowledge, that seems to be the case. They're one of the main drivers behind this. And also Huawei, I think they also proposed something similar.
Hmm. Okay, so maybe we can reach out to Eric to see if he's open up for for the talk for a talk to Huawei's point of view, and maybe we can also reach out to all these companies to see if what they found. Um, that would be also a good knowledge point of view for everyone else. And yeah, that would be interesting things. Okay, so I'll see what I can do for this short-term projects if everybody think it would be an interesting one. Put all the I'll try to push some things and draw a little bit more attentions and see if in a month or a couple of weeks if we can get some momentum on this one. All right, for the long-term projects, the this one is the first one is proposed by Ryan. He's I think a scale-out network could be a good one for VCSEL could be a good balance between the size and also the cost for a scale-up network, but there is no standard or MSA for VCSEL in this in this area. So I I think it is interesting, but I don't know if we are the right group to working on it. I just want to hear more people's comments about this one.
Do you know if Ryan already has an implementation that he would be willing to donate, or are we expecting ourselves to develop the MSA for it?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Well, so I don't know who else in the group, but unless we have a number of VXL people, it would be hard for this group to write a standard on VXLs, you know.
Yeah, I think that you're totally right, and especially this high speed VXLs has to be like 100 above 100G. So the players for 100G plus VXLs is fairly limited. Okay, so um, so I'm also thinking about the other one in here that this was my idea, but you know it just kind of leveraging what we are in OCP that um, the scale up network, if we want to make the optical networks is more easy for implementation, um, that's the MPO or CPO or whatever connectors that uh, people end up using will have to place at the right positions in the OCP system, which is the UBB, the baseboard that OCP defined. So, you know, for example, where the optical connector is supposed to be, um, if there is a heat sink on top, would that be blocking anything? And will the fiber routing possible with all the big chips on the sides, um, the other copper cables or anything that would blocks away or airflow. And at the end, you're gonna have a mid plane in the board. So you know there are some of the things that people have to figure out, especially the system company. They have to figure out to make the optical connection possible in the using the scale up network. So that's what I think one things we can do, but I don't know if we have the right expertise in our group as well. So I'm just throwing out the idea and like to hear uh, hear everybody's suggestions. If you have some other ideas, you know, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Um, we can work on the charters together.
For some of the people that haven't spoken up today, maybe we should just ask them, you know, what kinds of things they would want to do. I'd just be interested because there's a number of people on the call that haven't said anything yet.
Yeah,
I'll jump in. Oh, no, this is Mike Ransford from Corning. Yeah, I think having a project around the onboard optics, how to get from the chips to the front panel or back panel, I think that would be worthwhile. So I like where you're going with this idea.
yeah. Thanks.
Bobby, and here you mentioned about VCSEL. I think in the last meeting, somebody else mentioned about micro LED. That that's also an interesting emerging technology too.
Oh, okay. Let me write it down. Yeah, that was in the last meeting. There was an argument between is it micro LED or VCSEL is compatible for slow and Y. Um, Hi, Mike.
Oh yeah, no, I think we can build on that. But if we focus on sort of the onboard optics, then it could work with the VCSEL, it could work with micro LED, it could work with whatever NPO, CPO. I don't think we need to be specific for each per se, but if we have a project that says, how do you get light from the chip to the to the backplane, that we should be able to cover all those different options.
Okay. Yeah. And Andrew? Andrew, you are we lost?
So, Randy Paul here, TE. Are we,
Uh,
talking considering like FAUs? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, I would include those.
you you mean the second ideas? The
Yes.
um yeah, it's more like a general more general like how to implement inside the box, right? Yeah, how to route the things. For example, the most of the work right now that we can see is having is mostly for a switch, right? So you see a one big giant switch surrounded by the CPO or MPO around it, and then break out the fiber to the front panel, this kind of a layout. But the AI server that has eight accelerator, which is a standard UBB, that's eight accelerators or more accelerator in the or several accelerator in the box. And if you want to connect all those accelerators together, the layout would be totally different than just one big switch chip at the center. So that would be that's what I think it would be an interesting things that has to be has to be research that um, requires many different expertise together. Um, any other people's like to uh, share the ideas? But I think Ryan is here. Ryan, I think Jeff has some questions about your VXL uh, ideas. Do you want to chip in a little bit more?
Uh, Sorry, I came in a little bit late. But this is the idea we discussed last time is what is missing from kind of the activities out there, right? I think there are so-called slower and wider works. Microvisual is one of those areas doesn't seem to have MSA or standard coverage. So I think this is one of the ideas we bring up is say, hey, is this one of the ideas, this group of people should at least take a stab at?
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, do you have like a VCSEL implementation that you can donate to me, or do you know someone who has one that they would donate it, or?
Yeah, I think
How,
I know a few players in the space. So if this group say, hey, there's enough interest, I can bring in some contributions for a discussion.
Mhm.
But do you
What I
think
was
this is interesting enough for us to look at?
Well, it could be. What I was worried about for our group was that I think there's a lot of us that probably aren't very knowledgeable in this area. And it would be hard for us to write a white paper or do a standard on it if we don't know much about it.
Right,
And
right. But
but
that's my question too. Like, is this the right place for it?
mhm.
Any of the people working on VXLs in this discussion?
Yeah, our company use a little bit of VXL, but we don't develop the VXL usage for this the
Yeah.
pluggable. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is actually very similar to the micro LED guys, but to be honest with you, I think VXL probably is easier to work on. Just everybody familiar with it, right? So idea is don't go PAM4, just go NRZ. If you only go NRZ, then the power is quite low per gigabit
what
basis.
what's the data rate that they're talking about?
It can be like 50 gig, right? Those VICs are already available. You just need to make into arrays. So it's very much like a UCIe. You don't have to go further down, right? If you go to micro LED, you need to step down quite a bit to get there. And another nice thing about this is at the beginning you can do reverse gearbox, but at a certain point, if customers are willing to put at their substrate, then become like you basically have like a die-to-die interface with this.
Well, Bobby, it sounds like you got several ideas here. I don't know if you want to do a vote or how do we decide? How do we choose? What I want
Uh,
to do is make sure there's enough people that want to contribute to it, that will contribute to it, as opposed to having one person trying to do the whole thing.
yeah, exactly. I think what I will do is I'm going to write down the notes, share with everyone, and then I think next week we can decide how we I'm open up to still collecting the idea, and then next week we can decide how we can how we um, like to finalizing the eliminate the idea, and then we can open up for a vote.
So here's my suggestion. I think first of all, it's an indication of interest, right? Like, do we have enough interest on these topics? And second, if we do have interest, then we need to bring in people to do contributions to discuss it, right? And after that, then you can vote like, hey, which one passed, which one doesn't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's
Like for micro
exactly.
LED idea, I would say if there's enough interest, I'll try to get people to come in here to actually discuss it. So that way we have a vetting process like, okay, this is worth of doing or not worth of doing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be an interesting one. Okay, so I think we're out of time, and thank you for your participating today. We will continue this discussion, and I'll send out the notes. Please, if you have any idea, please don't hesitate to contact me. Um, Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.